Hello everyone, and welcome back to SHINEE Chats. Now it has been what feels like forever since I've done a SHINEE Chats video other than like the occasional like reaction video. And it probably has been since SHINEEmas that I did in December, because at some point I ran out of things to talk about. There's no more to say. But I have something that I wanted to talk about today. I'm a little late on this, so maybe nobody cares about this anymore, but I still thought it was something that it would be fun to share my opinion on and to see what you guys thought about this as well. So, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about TAEMIN leaving SM Entertainment and what, in my opinion, what I think is going to change in the future, in my opinion. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's very much that's going to change. But I thought that it would just be like a fun thing to talk about because I have some opinions, and instead of sharing them on Twitter, I thought that I would share them for you here. So let us get into it. Grab a drink, grab a snack, I don't know, if you have YouTube Premium, turn your phone off and just listen to me in the background while you're doing something else. Let's get into it. So just to catch everybody up onto speed, if you haven't been keeping up with the news and don't really know what's going on, earlier this month in March, it was announced that TAEMIN and probably ONU were going to be leaving SM Entertainment. And this honestly did come as quite a shock to everybody because we had heard, I believe, that SHINEE, the group SHINEE, had renewed their contract last year and sort of didn't think much about the fact, and I generally with SHINEE, at least what I see, is you don't see a ton of like, will they or won't they until it already happens. And then it's like, oh, and there was no reason to suspect that they wouldn't re-sign, right? So we all kind of just assumed that they would resign, and then all of a sudden this news breaks that TAEMIN is going to be leaving at the end of March, and ONU is probably going to be leaving sometime later this year, and Twitter exploded a little bit, just because it was just kind of like, oh, like, okay, like we haven't, and at that point it was like, is it even true? Because we're only getting it from like these third-party sources, like TAEMIN hasn't said anything, SM hasn't said anything. Hello? And then there was like, I can't even remember the company name that they were like suspecting that TAEMIN was going to be going to, and like that company made a comment of being like, we're checking it out. It's like, okay, well no, you would know though if you were having a new artist join your company. Okay, whatever. So it was a bit of confusing time, and people were very like immediately kind of just like, oh my god, what is this gonna mean? What's gonna happen to SHINEE? And like all these things, and since then things have calmed down quite a lot, because TAEMIN on Bubble commented on it basically being like, it was so shocking, like I wanted to say it before it got out, but that didn't happen, so hopefully you can still support me. And like he's still in SHINEE, so for those of you, like, he's still in SHINEE. SHINEE did not disband. SHINEE is still together. They re-signed their contract. It's just his solo work is going to be moving to a different company, which I think is great. And for those of you who are also wondering, Key and Minho did re-sign with SM. So those two are staying with SM. We don't really have any news on ONU, so I'm not going to comment a ton on like that, just because we don't have any confirmation, and he's still on hiatus, so we don't really hear much from him, so it's hard to know like exactly what's going on. But we see enough of TAEMIN that I think that we all can, you know, there's enough of him going around. But since honestly, the moment that the news broke, I was so excited because like, I was like, as long as SHINEE's still together, okay, SHINEE's still together, then now I'm excited, because TAEMIN has been one of the most popular solo artists in Korea and in K-pop for a long time, especially in SM. He's for sure one of the most popular, if not the most popular solo artist in SM, and it never felt like he got the treatment that he deserved for being so popular and so good. Like, he never had a world tour. Fair enough, he doesn't have his own light stick. Why? I guess because he has SHINEE's light stick, but still, like, just all these things, like, it just feels like he just never got, like, the recognition that he deserved from the company. Like, externally, he would get all this recognition, but then, like, he doesn't get to, like, perform as much as I think that he would want to, and he only gets, like, Japan and Korea tour dates otherwise, and if he is going anywhere other than that, it's for like a couple of songs in a like a K-Con type thing. And I'm not surprised that he left, especially if you've been keeping up with his comments over the last probably year, you will have known, or you'll have seen that he's voiced his disdain for the company, like for SM, for quite a while. Like he's, you know, just like little things, like he's mentioned how like the staff kind of doesn't get paid enough, and just all these little comments that he's kind of made, being like, kind of like, you can just tell that there's some stuff happening on the inside of the company where it's like they're understaffed, not getting paid enough, stuff like that. And like the fact that, say for Guilty, he wanted to perform at like an end of the year show and he didn't get to and stuff. Like, well, that wasn't totally directed at the company. It's still like, if you're managing someone, your job is to manage them and to get them the opportunities that they want. And why would you not be bowing down and doing everything TAEMIN asks of you when you have TAEMIN? You have the king TAEMIN at your fingertips, and you're like, nah. Like, and now I know that a lot of people like to vilify SM to being like the big bad, and I think that all companies are inherently kind of bad. Like, no matter where anyone goes, they're all, at the end of the day, they're all businesses trying to make money, and so I don't think any of them are that good. And SM is full of a lot of people. It's probably staffed by tons of really hardworking, amazing, wonderful human beings. But the nature of the business and the higher ups don't care about that and just want to make their money. And who knows what goes on. I don't claim to know what happens in the company. I've never been a part of an entertainment company. I'm not in the K-pop industry. So I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but like it doesn't seem like it's running smooth sailing where everybody's just happy all the time, up into and including their artists, who have to stay public facing and can't, you know, there's only so much that they can do. But even with SHINEE's fan meet last year, how they were going to give us this really crappy venue, and then because of the fans being so mad, they changed it. But it's like, if we didn't fight for it as fans, it wouldn't have changed. And I can't imagine that the SHINEE members were like, no, this venue's fine. But it's like, they're almost not being listened to in that sense, or like, who knows? But it's like, so it's like not surprising that he's probably, he mentioned he'd been thinking about it for about a year, and that's not surprising, in, you know, in that sense. So, and just imagine if it was you. Like, he's been in that, with that company for at least 16 years, if not a little more than that. And just imagine you at your first job that you ever got. Imagine staying there until you're 30. Like, I think you'd probably want to get out of there too. See what else is going on. See what other opportunities you can get from going somewhere else. And TAEMIN moving to a smaller company, I kind of only see good things coming from that. Like, I might eat my words later, who knows? Because again, I think all companies are kind of crappy, but if he goes to a smaller company, I think any company would be foaming at the mouth for TAEMIN to get him to join their company. So if he does join them, I can't see why they wouldn't be like, we will give you whatever we want, whatever you want, you know? And so I'm excited because there's a chance that maybe he'll get to go on a solo world tour. Maybe he'll get to release more music or do other different kinds of performances or like whatever, what have you. Like I just feel like he would get more opportunities because there would be more focus on like just him. Well, a company like SM has tons of artists, so they have to split their time between all of these artists, and it's clear that SM prioritizes their newer groups than they do their older groups. Like, the older groups kind of just have to do whatever they're doing, but the newer groups are like the ones that get to like go on tours and get all these things. And fair enough, they have to market their new groups, like I get that, but it's sort of like how, you know, maybe I'm just being old, but if you're an adult and you pay bills, there's lots of companies like phone companies or internet companies who will have these great, amazing promotions for new customers that you can't get if you're our existing customer. It's like, why are you punishing me for being a customer of your business, but giving them more, or the thing where it's like the new employees get paid more than the old employees, and it's like stuff like that. Like, I know that is just a part of like business, which sucks, but it's like annoying. But also SM's lost, I'm sorry, this video is probably very rambly, but I have feelings, and we're just having a chat, we're like hanging out. But also SM's lost a ton of other artists in the last like year, so like it's not just TAEMIN, you know, which is also like, okay, it makes more sense. Like, they've lost quite a few members of EXO, they've lost a few members of Super Junior, like they're losing a lot of their they're old, you know, OG artists. A lot of the groups are still saying with SM, which I would suspect is just because SM is like, we are absolutely not going to give you the rights to your music or your name or any of that. So it's like, well, I guess if we want to stay as a group, we have to stay with you. And Key and Minho re-signed with SM, so it does make sense that SM will stay managing SHINee. But something that I saw a lot of people talking about was like, they were really worried about SHINee, the group, getting sidelined because of this. Because if now TAEMIN is not with the company, why would the company spend time like promoting the group, like to punish him almost? And I don't really know if that will happen. I really don't think that that will happen, because I think that people kind of have to remember that SHINee as a group, actually, like, compared to a lot of K-pop idols, is not that active. They're not active. Like, for a 16-year-old group, they're very active, but they're not, like, consistently pumping out music or whatever all the time. Like, since TAEMIN got back, which has been almost a year, they've only released one album. And yes, that's probably because Onyu went on hiatus and they haven't released music without him, and I am fully in support of that. I would rather the full group be back, and I would wait as long as I needed to for that. But so we don't know how much music they would have released if he had not gone on a hiatus. But like, they've released one album and they promoted hard for like 2 weeks, and then they've done SHINee World 6, you know, and performed. But I think a lot of why SHINee seems to be kind of like around all the time is because the members are all over the place doing their own stuff. You know, like Key right now. Key is doing the Mr. Freak, like, Sweet Escape exhibition thing. And so that is keeping SHINee, like, in the news. You know, Minho is, I think, potentially going to be on a Japanese game show. I'm not going to get into that. People were worried about it because it's, like, a physical thing. I'm not really sure. But he's, like, there. And then TAEMIN, you know, is TAEMIN and is just kind of all over the place all of the time. The show Build Up that Donghyun from Ace is on just performed Guilty as on their song, and it was so good. I'm so happy. But like, so like, SHINee is kind of just around all the time, but they're not like crazy together, active together all the time. So I really don't think that their group schedule is gonna change that much. Like, I want SHINee to be, like, selfishly, I want them to be active and together and doing things together all the time. But I also understand that, like, that might not be what they want to do all the time. Like, they also have their own solo projects that they're passionate about and want to prioritize. And I want them to do what they want to do. And I know that they care about SHINee. So I'm okay with not having new music, you know, 2 or 3 times a year. Like, even if it's once a year, I'm good with that. That's great. Even if it switches off between Japanese and Korean, like, that's great. I would be happy with that. So I don't think, personally, I don't think that their group work is going to change that much with TAEMIN leaving. Again, maybe I will eat my words later and SM will punish SHINee, who knows. But for now, I don't think that it will change. It's the same, like, on that same strain, I saw a lot of people really, like, worried about the fact that they were like, so if he leaves, does that mean that a world tour won't happen? And, like, I like to be optimistic, but I don't know if a world tour was ever gonna happen. And I only say that because SHINee's been around for almost 16 years, and they've gone on a world tour once. They're on their 6th SHINee World, and I'm not sure about Europe. Maybe Europe has had more luck. I highly doubt it. But in North America, they have only ever come for a solo concert one time for SHINee World 5. And then they came once for a fan meeting. Otherwise, it's been just like at stuff like KCON, but otherwise they've kind of stayed in, like, you know, Asia. So, like, you know, in like Singapore, and which I'm very excited that Singapore did get a SHINee World. That's very cool. But, like, crying for me in Canada. But, like, they've had a lot of opportunities to have to do many world tours. They've had many opportunities, and they haven't taken them. So I don't know. I'm kind of like, I don't know that they would take it. They would have taken it anyway. And because, again, TAEMIN has probably been thinking about this for a long time, and I'm sure that he's been in communication with the staff at SM for a long time. It wasn't like he walked in and went, here's my 2-week notice, see you later. So if a world tour was gonna happen, I don't think him leaving would have had any effect on it happening or not. Because world tours take at least a decent amount of time to like plan. So if it was gonna happen, I think it would happen regardless. But I'm not very hopeful that it would happen. Although if it does happen, I'll scream and cry and die, and I'll be so excited. But again, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was ever gonna happen. I just think we have more of a chance of TAEMIN doing a solo tour, which I would prefer a SHINee group tour, but I will take, you mean to tell me I can see Guilty performed live? And the Rizness? I would do it. I would do it. I'd be so excited. So yeah, so honestly, at the end, to like round this video up, it's a little bit of a shorter one for this, but just to like round up my thoughts, I really don't think anything is gonna, or much is gonna change with him leaving. We will see once that happens. I'm unsure if they've announced, I can't seem to find if they've announced what company he's gonna go to, so we'll see. Maybe that will depend, maybe that'll change things, but at this point, I don't think anything really massive is gonna change from like the fans' perspective. Like, obviously the SHINee Twitter accounts potentially will stop posting about his solo projects, but hopefully whatever company he has will create an account that will post him. So like, it'll be sad not to see his stuff on the SHINee social media, but they also, because he's still with SHINee, they might still post his stuff. I don't really know. I don't know how that's gonna work, but above and beyond that, I think that TAEMIN will only kind of get to do more of what he wants to do, and in a way that he wants to do it. And I think he'll have much more freedom in how he wants to do it, because he'll have a lot more say. Because like, I trust him as a 30-year-old man to have made the right decision to pick a company that will do good for him. Like, I know a lot of people like to baby him, and I'm one of them because he's my little ickle baby that I want to smush cheeks of. But he is also a 30-year-old man who has like 16 years of experience in this industry. I promise he knows what he's doing. Like, I just can't see him making a silly decision. Now, of course, companies are kind of evil and will, like, you know, promise all these things and then not deliver. Sure. But I trust him to have made the right decision for him, and trust that he wasn't like coerced into leaving SM for whatever reason. Like, you know, he knows better than anybody what the industry is like and what he wants to do, and I can only, you know, imagine him doing what is best for himself and his career and like what he wants. So I don't think anything's gonna change except for more TAEMIN opportunities. We'll see what happens with Onyu. I am of course okay with him leaving. I hope that if he does leave, we get some information about it. Like, it's been quite hard this last almost year to get very little updates from him, and like, I get it, and I want him to like do what he needs to do to feel better, but also it would be nice to have some updates. So hopefully if he does leave, or when he does leave, we do get some updates on that, and hopefully now maybe Key and Minho will have more solo opportunities because there's slightly less directions that SM has to be pulled in to satisfy all of their artists. You know, I mean, with Key's Sweet Escape thing, like, that's something already. So hopefully there's more stuff like that happens in the future. And hopefully SHINee just, gets to like broaden their horizons with this change and gets to do more things. Obviously, hopefully they get to release more music as SHINee and get to promote together more and maybe get to do an actual world tour. That would be cool. But yeah, I don't think anything massive is going to change on our end. I really don't think we're going to see a huge shift. It'll probably be a slow shift, if anything. And I have just like high hopes for what they'll bring us in the next couple of years. I think it'll be very exciting, and I can only just imagine the awesome stuff that we're going to get in the future. And just, I'm excited. But I would love to know what you guys think. What do you think about TAEMIN leaving? What do you think about the state of SHINee and SM? What do you think is going to happen? I'd love to know. And again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of this, I'm just pulling out my butt and it's all wrong. Who knows? And I would accept that. Like, if I'm wrong, that's okay. This is just my own opinion as a longtime SHINee stan on what I think is going to happen. And I'm also like an adult. So I'm just like, with what I know of the adult world, this is my opinions. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you have any other like topics that you want me just to like share my opinion on, because I could do that too, because sometimes I feel like I have trouble thinking of new ideas and new things to talk about. So if you have anything you'd ever like me to talk about, let me know. But otherwise, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in whatever my next video ends up being. Bye!